Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs. These two guys are back. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear one of them in 2 years be named the new CEO of Disney.
They know they have something that nobody else can offer.
They're trying to figure this out. Like, there is a pressure. They feel the heat. Bob Iger, CEO, has brought back two really well-known names to the Disney company as consultants. They are Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs. If you know anything about Disney history, particularly watch some of the Imagineering story, you know Tom Staggs was kind of the heir apparent to Bob Iger for, a good solid 5 years. He was the chairman of the parks, and in an effort to better prepare him to be the future CEO, they even made him the CFO for a while. Like they purposely were moving him around different areas of the company to give him the most experience. And he's known within the company for being just really well. He's a fan of Disney as much as he is an executive of Disney. That's kind of what he was known for. One of my favorite stories is when they were in Disney World redoing the Disney Springs area, and they kind of wanted to put this cool like adventure bar in. He was the one who went, you know what you ought to do is you ought to make it Indiana Jones themed, and you ought to name it after Indy's pilot, Jock Lindsay, which is like such a deep cut. It's just like, you got to really be a fan of Indiana Jones to know that reference. And so they did. They ended up naming it Jock Lindsay. And they, what he knew that none of the Imagineers at the time knew is that Disney was in the process of acquiring Lucasfilms. So all the Imagineering team was just like, yeah, that would be cool, but like, we don't have rights to this, we can't really do it. And he's like, you go work on that. I'll, leave that up to me. And of course, behind the scenes, they're working out this huge merger, Disney acquiring Lucasfilm. So that just kind of gives you a taste of like many stories of like that with him. So he's back in. Kevin Mayer, he only left right at 2020 when they chose to go with Bob Chapek. He left because he didn't want to work under Chapek. And what was interesting is Mayer, he was he was the mastermind behind a lot of these acquisitions. He was the guy who ordered all the deals for Iger. He was kind of the negotiator, I guess you could say. When he left, and Staggs left back in 2018 because of an internal rivalry with one of the board members that kind of didn't like Iger. So he got his favorite guy kicked out of the company. So now these two guys are back. They're consulting. One of their main things they're consulting with is they're trying to figure out ESPN. Ooh. And I have a question for you. The article that I'm reading here from Yahoo specifically details for ESPN to work and be profitable and not rely on the cable package anymore.
Yep.
A full ESPN Plus subscription where you have, unlimited access to ESPN content would have to sit at around $30 a month.
Yeah.
And the question they pose, and you're the sports fan, not I, would a sports consumer pony up $30 a month to get unfettered access to all things ESPN?
$30 is a lot of money for one thing, for only one channel. And I've done so much research. Last year we lost access to cable and ESPN specifically and TNT, and the ability to log into all of those through our apps on Roku through a family member. Not like they were giving up their cable, so we weren't able to grab it anymore. And so we had to kind of go look and see, is it worth it just doing rabbit ears versus, which is free, obviously, versus all the other options out there. And to a T, almost every single option was going to be for anywhere from $75 to $80 to $90 for access. Almost all of it. I think Sling was one of the few ones that you could kind of use, but really you only got like half the channels. You couldn't get Fox and ESPN, and it was around $40 for that. And I'm basically paying $40 for ESPN, but not really like that's the reason I'd be buying it. It makes me a little sad because I was hoping it would be like a lot cheaper than that. Let's say like what I'm used to with Disney Plus or HBO Max or any of those other ones. Like I'm hoping to pay around like sub $20. It's funny to say sub 20 is now the sweet spot of where we'd like to be, but they know they have something that nobody else can offer, and it's not available over the airwaves. It's not available anywhere else, and they're the only ones that have it. You got to start figuring it out if it's really worth it, because it's between $30 or $85, and it's just a crazy town how much the difference is between that. So yeah, I think it's within the realm of it hurts, but you got to think about it.
Yeah, I think what I'm optimistic about is, one, these are two guys who know the Disney brand well. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear one of them in 2 years be named the new CEO of Disney. That seems the most. If I were a betting man, that's where I would put my money.
You're not going with Adam Silver from the NBA?
No. The other thing I'm optimistic about is it's obvious they're trying to figure this out. Like there is a pressure. They feel the heat. And everything from the writer's strike, actor strike, to even what you're describing, I think cord cutters, the initial appeal was, hey, this is cheaper. I can actually save some money with this.
It's not cheaper
and that's
anymore.
Not the case anymore. What you just outlined was how much it costs to have a cable package, right? I think we're going to come into a new era where it's going to cost the same as cable. Like if we want to have access to everything, if we want to rule the world,
we're there.
But we're going to have it on demand. We're going to have it on demand.
Some new features.
To view it where and how we want to. Yeah. And at the end of the day, yeah, if you want high quality stuff, you got to pay for it. It's just like you get what you pay for, which is painful to say, but that's the reality. And I don't know. I'm optimistic because I think they're going to have to figure this out. And I think in the end, the consumer is going to benefit from that. We're going to get a better product because they've got to demonstrate that it's actually worth ponying up that money.
I love the deep cut news that you give us. Like no idea that this was even happening, and you're like, hey, I got these two people that are brand new coming back to Disney and giving me all kinds of feels and joy. This is great. This is awesome.
They're just consultants. They own their own
hashtag air quotes
Hollywood investment firm thing. It's just kind of weird what their actual company does. And I'm just like, yeah, you could easily just go right back over to Disney. Come on, let's be honest.